What if I told you World War III has already begun? It's not being fought with bombs and bullets, yet. It's being fought right now in silence, and you're already on the front line. History is a fragile thing. A series of seemingly isolated events, a string of miscalculations, a failure of words. For years, the world held its breath, watching the two greatest powers of the 21st century circle each other like wary predators, the United States and China, a rivalry that defined an era. And then, one day, the breath was released. It wasn't a single, dramatic declaration of war. It was a flashpoint, a collision of warships in the disputed waters of the South China Sea, a Taiwanese air defense system firing on a Chinese drone, a cyber attack that plunges a major city into darkness. The how becomes irrelevant in the face of the what next. The first shots of World War III are not fired from cannons but from keyboards. Before the first soldier falls, the world's digital infrastructure becomes a battlefield. In Beijing and Washington, specialized military units unleash a torrent of cyber warfare. The stock markets, already teetering on the news, are thrown into chaos by targeted hacks. Communication satellites are jammed, creating a fog of war. Power grids in major U.S. cities flicker and die, plunging millions into darkness and confusion. In China, the Great Firewall becomes an iron curtain, completely isolating its citizens from the outside world, feeding them a steady stream of state-controlled information. For the average person, the war begins not with a bang, but with a sudden, unnerving silence. The internet is unreliable. The news is a whirlwind of conflicting reports and propaganda. Fear, sharp and cold, begins to set in. The silent war gives way to a brutal, kinetic reality. China's anti-access area denial, A2/AD strategy, years in the making, is put to the ultimate test. The seas around Taiwan and the South China Sea become a death trap for naval vessels. The U.S., with its formidable carrier groups and advanced fighter jets, strikes back at Chinese naval assets and coastal defenses. The fighting is swift, technologically advanced, and devastatingly lethal. The world is forced to choose sides. Global trade, the lifeblood of the modern economy, grinds to a halt. The intricate supply chains that deliver everything from our phones to our food are severed. Oil prices skyrocket. The economic fallout is immediate and catastrophic, triggering a global depression on a scale not seen since the 1930s. Months into the conflict, the initial shock has given way to a grim new reality. The war is a stalemate, a bloody war of attrition. The human cost is staggering. In the U.S., a draft is instituted for the first time in decades, tearing families apart. Daily life is a constant reminder of the conflict: rationed goods, civil defense drills, and a pervasive sense of anxiety. In China, the government's control tightens, dissent is crushed. The narrative is one of national survival against foreign aggression. And then there is the ever-present shadow of the ultimate fear. Every casualty, every sunken ship, every downed pilot pushes both sides closer to a line that must never be crossed. The word nuclear is whispered in the halls of power. A desperate move to break the stalemate? A response to a devastating conventional attack on the homeland? The doctrines are in place, the weapons are on alert. A single, catastrophic miscalculation, a false reading on a radar screen, could unleash an apocalypse. The path to nuclear escalation is a slippery slope. The only way to win is not to play. And what if they don't? What if the war continues? A grinding, conventional conflict that bleeds both nations dry. The world that emerges would be a shadow of its former self. The global order shattered. Economies in ruins. A generation lost. The scars of such a conflict would not heal for centuries. We live in a fragile world, delicately balanced on the edge of a knife. The ties that bind us, trade, communication, a shared humanity, are so much stronger than the forces that seek to tear us apart. To imagine a world at war is not to be a harbinger of doom, but to understand the profound, immeasurable value of peace.